Minecraft 1.20.3 brings us improvements to decorated pots, better shields, and a new look for the bat, but also many smaller quality of life improvements. My name is Slime and I'm here to give you a comprehensive tour of all the news in 1.20.3. Let's start with the decorated pots. You can now store up to 1 stack of items in a decorated pot. Unlike most other containers, it has no user interface, so you add items by interacting with the block while holding the item. Adding items this way will also trigger an interaction vibration of frequency 11. There's no direct way to take items back out, but breaking the pot causes the items to drop, both if you smash it with a tool and if you break it without smashing it. Trying to place items in an already full pot or trying to put an item in that doesn't stack with the items already in it will cause the pot to shake. Shooting the pot with a projectile will now also smash it, causing its contents to spill out. You can now also interact with the decorated pot using hoppers and hopper minecarts, both to insert and remove items from them, and can also add items using a dropper. Comparators read the number of items in the pot just like other containers and output a signal based on how full it is. In item form, decorated pots with the same decorations now stack up to 64. In gameplay news, shields now follow the direction you're looking more closely in third person, so it's more easy to see if a player will block an arrow or not. There is a limit to how far up and down the shield can move visually. Shields now also protect you from hits from directly above and below. Grass has been renamed to short grass. This goes both for the displayed name of the block and item and the IDs used in commands and other datapack features. Renamed minecarts and boats will now show their names in the world when looked at just like mobs. The name also shows up in the title of chest boat and chest cart user interfaces, and the items keep the names when broken again. Arrow projectiles now have information about their item form, which means that named arrows retain their name when shot and picked back up again. Getting killed by a renamed arrow now shows the correct name in the death message. Fireworks rockets are now counted as impact projectiles, which means they can now break chorus flowers and decorated pots. Using an ender pearl now plays the teleportation sound when the pearl lands, with the new subtitle, Player Teleports. And when crafting a clock or compass, the output slot no longer functions like a fully made clock or compass, so you'll now need to actually craft it before you can use it. Let's talk about mobs. The bat has gotten a remake. Bats now have a new model, a new texture, and new animations. None of the other gameplay properties of the bat have changed, so their hitbox is still the same size, their behavior is still the same, and they still don't drop anything when killed. If you attempt to feed a donkey, horse, mule, or llama that has already eaten its fill, the food item will no longer be eaten without any effect. There are a number of new game rules in this version. In this video, I'll be showcasing the ones that have a direct impact on gameplay. If you want to see the more technical game rules, check out my technical news video. Let's start with projectiles can break blocks, which controls whether chorus flowers and decorated pots can be broken by impact projectiles like arrows, and whether pointed dripstone can be broken by tridents. There are 2 other new game rules which are closely related. Player Nether Portal Default Delay and Player Nether Portal Creative Delay. They control the time it takes in a number of ticks to pass through a nether portal for players in creative mode for the creative rule, and for players in survival or adventure mode for the default rule. In options news, a new accessibility option has been added for disabling the splash text on the main menu screen. In visual news, the rain texture now loops properly. Previously, there would be a snap in the loop, most clearly seen if you looked at it in slow motion like is shown here. In stability news, there's a new screen for handling corrupted level files. This gives you the option to restore a backup and a quick link to the bug tracker for reporting a bug about it. The game is now also less likely to crash when trying to open such files. This version also contains an experimental preview of some of the features for the upcoming Minecraft 1.21 that were showcased on Minecraft Live. Just like before the 1.20 update, the features for Minecraft 1.21 are available in an experimental pack, which means they only exist in worlds that are created with that experiment enabled. To turn the experiment on when creating a world, go to the More tab and click Experiments. Another change related to the experimental packs is that you can now also select to enable the built-in experiments when creating a world on a realm. Once you have that experiment enabled, the crafter is a new block crafted from a crafting table, a dropper, 2 redstone dust, and 5 iron ingots. It's directional and places just like you place a dropper with its front face towards you. Once placed, you can break it by hand, but the right tool for the job is a pickaxe. The crafter is a way to use redstone mechanisms to craft items, just like you'd normally craft them in a crafting table. Interact with the crafter to look at its contents and set up the crafting grid. You can add items into this crafting grid like for a crafting table, but you cannot take the resulting item out. Instead, when the crafter receives a redstone pulse, it will drop the crafted item out its front side, or move it into another inventory if the crafter is pointed at another container. Think of it exactly like a dropper. One difference from a dropper is that if the target inventory is full, the item is ejected into the world instead. If the items in the crafter do not make up a valid crafting recipe, the crafter fails and does nothing. If there are residual items in the craft, such as for crafting a cake, the remaining items are ejected together with the crafted one. Let's look more at the crafter interface. You do not have a recipe book here, so you've got to know the recipe you're trying to make. To make some recipes easier, you can also toggle slots on and off in the user interface. Toggling a slot off means it can never contain any item, so items inserted into the crafter will avoid that slot. The crafter is also a container that can be interacted with by hoppers and droppers, so you can automatically insert the right items for a craft. When this happens, items will be added in order of priority. First any empty slots starting from the top left and moving down by rows. If there are no empty slots, items will prioritize adding into the smallest stack that will fit. Hoppers can also be used to pull items back out of the ingredients in the crafter and will then pull them out in the regular order the items would normally be taken out from a chest. Comparators can also be used with crafters. They will show a signal strength of 1 for each non-empty or toggled slot in the crafter. That means a full craft with all unused slots toggled off will always have a signal strength of 9. One last difference between the crafter and the crafting table is that the contents of a crafter is shared, so multiple players changing it at once will show up for all players. New variants of tough blocks and a whole new set of copper blocks have been added. The new tough blocks include stair, slab, wall, and the chiseled versions of plain tough. Tough can also be polished either by crafting them in a 2x2 pattern or by using a stone cutter. Polished tough also has stairs, slabs, and walls with the regular crafting recipes. Polished tough turns into tough bricks on another craft of 2x2. Tough bricks have stairs, slabs, walls, and also a chiseled variant. All of these tough blocks can be crafted using a stone cutter. The next set of new blocks are copper variant blocks. All of these blocks of course exist in all 4 stages of oxidization, and all of them can also be waxed to halt that process, scraped to let the process continue, or scraped again to deoxidize. Waxing any of them also counts for the wax on and wax off advancements. Let's start with the chiseled copper, which is crafted from 2 cut copper slabs or by using a stone cutter. The next one is the copper grate. 4 copper blocks in a diamond pattern crafts 4 copper grates, which is a new transparent block that can also be crafted using the stone cutter. Like many other transparent blocks, copper grates do not conduct redstone power. Copper grates can also be waterlogged. They act just like leaves and mangrove roots when this happens. Water is fully contained inside the block and doesn't flow out any side. The copper bulb is a new light block and a redstone mechanism crafted from 3 copper blocks, a blaze rod, and a redstone dust, which gives you 4 copper bulbs. The bulb is a redstone sensitive lamp, but instead of needing power to be lit like a redstone lamp, the bulb switches state immediately when it receives a redstone signal. This makes it a very compact T flip-flop, albeit one that causes light changes. When used for lighting, the different levels of oxidizations have different light levels. Pure copper starts with a light level of 15 like other full block light sources. This reduces to 12 for exposed, 8 for weathered, and 4 for oxidized copper bulbs. The bulb does not conduct redstone power, and when powered, a small redstone crystal in the center of the block will light up. Scraping the bulb with an axe while it is lit makes it brighten immediately. A comparator reading a copper bulb will output a maximum signal strength for a lit bulb and no power for an unlit bulb. There are also new doors and trapdoors made of copper. Contrary to iron doors and trapdoors, these are made of full copper blocks. Despite being made of metal, they also function more like wooden doors and can be opened and closed without needing redstone power. Right-clicking them with an axe or honeycomb also defaults to opening or closing them. You'll need to hold shift to use the scraping or waxing function. Trial chambers are new structures that generate buried underground in all overworld biomes, starting at heights between -40 and -20. They are pretty common, and they're made out of copper blocks and tuff, including the new ones we just talked about. They vary in size and are all procedurally generated, including corridors leading to different challenge rooms. In the corridors you can find supply chests with things needed for the coming battle, and decorated pots with random supplies, including a very small chance of containing a diamond block. In the challenge rooms themselves you will find reward chests, but also challenges to defeat in order to access those rewards. The contents of the reward chests are not final. There are also traps, including dispensers with arrows in the corridors and dispensers with many different potential items in the chambers, including arrows, snowballs, eggs, fire charges, various splash potions, and various lingering potions. Each trial chamber structure has 3 specific mobs selected from categories: a melee mob, a small melee mob, and a ranged mob. Melee mobs are selected from zombies, husks, and slimes. The small melee mob is either spiders, cave spiders, baby zombies, or silverfish. And finally, the ranged mob is either skeletons, strays, or skeletons equipped with poison-tipped arrows. Each trial chamber structure only has one of each of those, so for instance one whole structure might use husks as melee mobs, cave spiders as small melee, and strays as ranged mobs. All the spawners in that structure will then use those types. There are also spawners that always spawn the same type of mob, the new breeze. More on that later. One thing to note here is that regular mob spawning does not happen inside the bounding boxes of the trial chamber pieces, so the only mobs you'll encounter are those from the trial spawners. So let's talk about those trial spawners. The trial spawner is a new type of spawner block that is different from the regular monster spawner in several important ways. The number of mobs spawned by a trial spawner is not fixed. Depending on how many players in survival or adventure mode are nearby, the level of challenge will increase. Mobs spawn in line of sight from the spawner, and regardless of the normal light level requirement for those mobs. All mobs spawned by trial spawner are also persistent and will not despawn. Every time the trial spawner detects a new player nearby, the challenge level will increase. It'll then stay at that level until the encounter has been completed by killing all the mobs. When all the mobs have been defeated, the trial spawner will eject a reward and then go into a cooldown mode for 30 minutes before becoming available for another round of fighting. Those rewards are a 50% chance of a supply item and a 50% chance of getting a new item called a trial key. The rewards are also scaled up by the number of players involved in the encounter, and all players get the same type of loot. So if one player gets a trial key, everyone will get a trial key. Those keys then, they have no functionality yet. Trial spawners are very hard to break, taking 250 seconds to break or more than 4 minutes. It also doesn't have a correct tool, so the time stays the same regardless of tools and enchantments. If you do break them, they drop nothing, and unlike regular spawners, you also don't get any XP drops. Trial spawners can only be found in trial chambers. If you place them in creative mode, just like regular spawners, they have no mob type by default, and you can set one by interacting with a spawn egg. Our last experimental feature in this version is the breeze. Breezes are hostile mobs with 30 health, that is 15 hearts, which only spawn from trial spawners in trial chambers. It does not spawn naturally. The breeze moves around by sliding and leaping, where a leap can cover quite long distances. It attacks using a ranged attack called a wind charge. This projectile deals a small amount of damage on impact, but also causes an explosion called a wind burst when it hits either an entity or a block. Wind bursts do not damage blocks, but knocks back entities in the area several blocks. They can also activate certain redstone activated blocks, including opening or closing doors, trapdoors and fence gates, toggling levers, pressing buttons and ringing bells. Windbursts can also extinguish candles, including those placed in cakes. Iron doors and trapdoors do not get affected by wind bursts, and neither do blocks that are held opened or closed by means of a redstone signal. Just like a gassed fireball, the wind charge can be hit to reflect it to a new direction. The breeze also cannot be hit by arrows or tridents. When killed, the breeze drops 5 experience points but no loot. And that's where we'll leave it for this version. It also contains a whole host of minor bug fixes as well as some pretty big technical changes. If you're interested in those, check out my technical news video as well. My name is Sly Slime, thank you for watching, I'll see you next time.